Distribution provided by Cloud Sigma, the cloud that adapts to you. Visit cloudsigma.com/thisweekin for a free $200 credit.
Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by MailChimp. Manage lists with up to 2,000 subscribers and send up to 12,000 emails per month for free with MailChimp. And by the Resumator. Try the Resumator, the hiring solution used by today's fastest growing startups. Start a free trial at theresumator.com/twist.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis. This is This Week in Startups. In studio with me, Paul Carr of Not Safe for Work Corporation, Sarah Lacy of Pando Daily, hot on her Emmy nomination or award? Nomination. I'm sure she's going to win. Baby Evie is with us. And David Kirkpatrick is on the go-to meeting. We're going to talk about MG Siegler leaving the CrunchFund for Google. Facebook is buying Waze. People are printing 3D guns. Elon Musk is talking about autopiloting cars. We got to get to John Doerr. John Doerr is crying about the environment and his returns, and the blah, 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 blah. And YouTube is doing subscriptions as if anybody cares. All that and much more today on This Week in Startups. It's called Professional.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Bottle of champagne upstairs. Maybe we should pop a bottle. Hey everybody. It's This Week in Startups. We're going to have an amazing episode today. With me, Sarah Lacy of Pando Daily and her baby Evie. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
And in studio for the first time.
No, I was here for This Weekend.
Oh, right. When I interviewed you.
Yeah.
But not for the news
and
round,
I'm bummed because I've dropped 30 pounds since then.
You look great, kid.
But now I have a baby strapped to me, so you can't tell.
So it's basically... I was wondering what that was. I was about to say, you got a very weird result. But actually, it's a baby.
It's a baby.
Oh, baby Evie. On the phone, on the go-to meeting, David Kirkpatrick of Techonomy is with us. David, how are you doing?
I'm good. So I'm only on phone, not on video?
No, you're on video. You're on video. You're on go-to meeting, HD faces.
It's pretty high-quality audio, I will say.
It's perfect. It's flawless with Techonomy, of course. And you're doing that May 16th event in Menlo Park, the Internet of Things.
Internet of Everything, and that's, on... next Thursday, and it's going to be very cool.
In Menlo Park, and if you want more information on that, go to Techonomy, TECHONOMY.com. David, always putting on the best conferences. I'm certainly going to try and make it to the Internet of Everything.
Thank you, Jason. Well, if you think so, that's
Well,
nice.
Listen, when I was coming up in the business, when I was but a wee kid, I would read David and I would watch him interview people, and I took notes. It's greit to have you on the program. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Wow,
always looked up
nice.
to you. Always looked up to you.
Thank you. Well,
but now switching gears. Switching gears.
Now I
Paul
know
Carr's on the program.
I know you've
here's
looked up to me.
Who I absolutely do not look up to.
You've always been a fan. I know that. That's fine.
Absolutely.
It's just great I can come out here as part of my fan outreach and meet you, and hope I've made your day just by being
Paul
here.
Carr of Not Safe for Work Corporation. Everybody check out NSFW
Corp. Put the corp in, otherwise it's
truly not safe for work.
It is not safe for work.
And let me tell you something.
Tell me.
In all honesty,
I'm listening.
I am an excellent judge of who's a good publisher and who's a great publisher.
That's why you worked with Mike for so long.
And Mike in his best day,
yeah.
in all honesty, in his best day, he was a great publisher. On his worst day, he was Mike. But putting that aside, you started out good. You're now in the great category. The stuff you're doing
Jason.
with Not Safe for Work Corporation in monetization and also allowing stuff to be open to the community and they unlock stories. I am actually looking at that and nodding and going, that is some really impressive stuff. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And how is it going over there?
It's going really well. It's actually going really... Thank God you asked me this now and not like 3 weeks ago. And I was like, are we going to... Subscriptions are growing and growing and growing. The editorial team is... I was about to say fucking fantastic, but then I see the swear jar.
That's $10. Fine.
All right, fine.
Worth it.
We need Square because I'm going to put my credit card straight in.
Put a Bitcoin in. We'll take a couple of Bitcoins.
I'll do $1 billion Bitcoins in to make a regular dollar. It's going really well. The team's amazing. The people are subscribing. We launched our print edition.
Thousands of people have
people, and of them,
$7 a month. It's like a latte and a croissant.
And more than 50% of the people who signed up to the online edition are now getting the print edition because print is dead.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. fantastic.
I'm putting you in my top 7 publishers. You're in there too, Sarah. But you're in there for quality reasons. I think that you've really
We're more
done.
of a throwback. Paul's more innovative.
I told you that on email today. I just think what you're doing is incredible on a quality basis.
Thanks.
We've reached a world, by the way, in which launching a print magazine is considered innovative. It's like really the whole world has gone full
Well, quality
circle.
is as well.
Yeah.
By the
yeah,
way,
so quality.
Economy is a publisher too, and we actually published a print book just recently.
Yeah, so it's like, it really
It's
is
the future.
amazing. I think when publishing, everything has to collapse in order for it to rebuild again. And the reason why everybody is so down on, I think, the media and publishing is because it's in the process of collapsing. But from that collapse, I think we're seeing a new emergence of QZ. Quartz is doing a pretty interesting job with interface. You're doing quality. David, of course, quality. You're doing this innovative stuff in payments. I think it's going to be a huge
At
rebound.
some point, people are going to talk about Quartz's content and not just its interface. At some point, people are going to say they're doing really good reporting.
They are.
They're
And they're doing a
okay.
great job with the native advertising.
Hit or miss.
Yeah, they
Tim
need to think
Fernholz
about
is amazing. They have
Yeah.
some really good people.
No,
Yeah,
they're
I
not
like, I
bad.
like a lot of their stories, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of
They
tracking.
have a touch of the BI, though.
You know what the thing
headlines
is?
are very BI.
Well, I think it's sort of like BI, BuzzFeed, and Huffington Post are writing everything down.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like they're going really fast and growing, and the reason they're gaining speed is because they're pointing the plane at the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're about to hit.
Mashable, too.
And Mashable's a disaster.
You will not believe how fast this plane is crashing into the ground. Slideshow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
10 reasons why you need
God,
to get
it's
the
going
hell
so
off this
fast.
plane. This shit is about to burn. $10 for Jake Hal.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh, the humanity. Next slide. View as one page. My advice, view as one page. All right, listen. This is going to be an incredible show, you can tell already, and an incredible solution for managing all your hiring needs. How is that for a segue, Paul?
Amazing.
It's the Resumator.
You're not going to talk about the Resumator. I love the Resumator.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Listen, 18,000 people have applied to work for me in the last 7 years. How do I know that? Pull up my screen. Here they are. 18,432 applicants across all of the different companies I invest in or that I've started. And I keep them all in one place, the Resumator. And then Kieran is going to read the news today. Almost forgot that you're on the program because I got all these loudmouths here. But,
I was going to ask who that was sitting over there.
That's Kieran
because
Calley, who's
that was
our
not
editorial
really
director.
Producers. You just sort of...
Yes, Kieran Calley. You use the Resumator.
I use the Resumator. It's fantastic. I love being able to rate all the candidates and make little notes about everyone.
Yep.
And it's really, really easy to sort through people quickly.
Yes. So hire employees efficiently, track applicants through the hiring process, screen resumes based on your job criteria, free job boards, blah, 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 blah. And listen, this is a great story because I had the guy from the Resumator on, what's the guy's name again?
Don Charlton,
Don Charlton.
CEO.
Don,
You could probably
Was
look
it-
him up on the Resumator, I imagine.
you could. He's applied for a position.
Yeah.
No, Don was great. He was on the show and he did an Ask Jason segment for
Episode 5.
Episode 5. We did an Ask Jason call in. Then he became a guest 3 years later, got funded. And now he's an advertiser, which
That's
talk
correct.
about like the life of the show. That's pretty great. And I only accept ads on the show from people who I use their product for multiple years, and I've been using this product for multiple years. Go to theresumator.com/twist, 14-day free trial, 15% off your first month, just for Twist listeners. Who else uses it? Instagram, Pinterest, and Hootsuite. You may have heard of those companies. They're crushing it. Thank you so much to the Resumator for making independent media like This Week in Startups possible. Everybody go thank at the Resumator. I mean, it's not easy to do what I'm doing, people. All right, let's do the first one.
Thanks at the Resumator.
Thank you, at the
Where's your
Resumator.
Emmy? That's
Yeah.
all I want
Where's
to
the
know.
Relatively
motherfucking Emmy?
deft, I'd say.
Jesus. Who's your producer?
Kim McNicholas.
Somebody get me Kim Nicholson for hire her. Whatever she's paying, just hire her.
Can't
Is
you
she
look her
full-time
up
or
on
is
the
she consultant?
Resumator? Surely she's on the
God damn
it.
Resumator. Everyone's on the Resumator.
Yeah. All right, listen, let's start the show. Let's do a story. Pick a story at random. Go ahead.
I think
And
we
by
already
random, I mean the story I told you to do
Exactly. The story we already decided is MG Siegler leaving the CrunchFund for Google Ventures. So
I know the
he was
name.
at CrunchFund for 19 months. He's going to continue his writing for TechCrunch. He's going
know
to be
the
joining the
name.
likes of folks like Wesley Chan and Kevin Rose. So was this a good move for MG?
first. All right, well, listen, we all know MG here. Let's start with you, Paul. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say on this. I think it's a remarkable show of loyalty. I think it's great that a week ago MG said, "Hey, Mike, things are on the up for you. Like things couldn't be going better.
Smashingly.
Would you just whatever Vaynerchuk says, you're crushing it.
Yeah.
you're crushing it.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do now is I don't think you need me anymore.
Right.
I don't think you need me or my deal flow. So I'm just going to step away quietly and go and join Google
The
Ventures.
hottest venture firm outside of
Gonna
Mark
hang out with
Andreessen
Kevin Rose,
and Jason Horowitz.
and you'll be fine, right? And I'm sure Mike said, "Of course, things couldn't be better."
Right.
And they shook hands and went their separate way. I mean, really. I mean, I just think it's amazing. I think it's hilarious. I think good for him.
Oh,
He is
great for him.
Looking after
great move for him.
his own
Yeah.
interests brilliantly. And I
Well,
think
he kind of has no choice. I mean, given what's going down with
does. The other
You
choice
think
is he could have
staying
stayed
there?
No, I think
No.
I mean, it's not possible
but I think
to stay.
he didn't have to leave right now.
Yeah.
I think the way venture partnerships work, people treat them like marriages.
Right.
And I think, I mean, this is ridiculous that I'm saying this given my history with Mike, but I think Mike did a lot for MG. I think
Of course, he made him.
MG.
He was working as a
but
waitress at a
also
cocktail bar when Mike met him.
Making MG like a full partner in that
Yeah.
fund was not something everyone else had done. And we talked about this last time. MG is trying to be a great VC,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
was not necessarily clear. Just
No.
because you're good at writing about products doesn't mean that you'll be a good VC.
Right.
And, I think at Mike's most vulnerable point in the court of public opinion, even if this was in the works, say to Google, look, I need to stick this out with Mike a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll join in the fall.
Make a public show of support of Mike in some
Yeah.
way. I think he could have been a little bit more loyal. I think great move for him, obviously.
Yeah, Google Ventures is considered what in the venture community right now? Or
Well,
amongst
look, I don't think it's the
entrepreneurs?
hottest firm outside Andreessen Horowitz.
Top five?
I think that's I wouldn't say top 5, but I do think in terms of a corporate venture arm, it is the best right
Oh,
now.
clearly the
It
best
is the best,
corporate
and
venture
and
arm.
it has remade that category. But I don't know. I'm not sure it's near the
kinda
top
look at
5.
the-
I'd say maybe top 10 right now in
Okay,
terms of
so
momentum.
I would say, yeah, I would probably agree top 10. I'd have to think about top 5, who would be in front or behind them. But if you look at it, Daniel Burke, I respect a lot design-wise. Kevin
Yeah.
Rose, I respect a lot entrepreneurship-wise. MG, I respect a lot in terms
Yeah.
of his writing ability and his insights for
Well, Joe
product.
Kraus is great.
And Wesley and Joe Kraus. I mean, Joe Kraus is a great product guy. So, I mean, you think about those 5. That's a great starting 5 lineup for any team. David, what do you think?
I think I love MG. I think it's a very inside baseball story for someone like me from New York who
Yeah.
doesn't focus on the ins and outs of the VC world nearly so much. And frankly, the most interesting thing to me is that a journalist has been successful as a VC, which still hasn't really happened that many times. And I think actually it could happen a lot more.
Yeah, Michael
Where he
Moritz was the
works,
first.
where he
right?
works is something that I probably would have barely even been aware of if I wasn't on this show, for whatever that's worth. I mean, I do think he's a great guy, and I've admired his writing, and I thought it was interesting when he and Mike started that fund. So,
Well,
yeah.
I think the reason that it matters and the reason that it's more than just someone moving a staff job is what it says for CrunchFund.
Is it over,
I think it probably is.
Paul?
Last time I spoke to Mike, he seemed to suggest he thought it was, and that was before MG told him. So I don't see any evidence that it's not. I like as far as I
Somebody
can tell.
explain to me why, since again, I'm
so
not
this is what I'll say. So
informed.
Primack's article, which Dan Primack, I mean, one of the single best people who covers venture capital, and he did a great job
Doing it for
and
20
I know,
years,
Yeah,
right?
and I know he talks to a lot of sources, and he did a good story. But look, I mean, he said their IRR is
Solid.
30% or so, but that's what they're marking things at. That doesn't mean they're going to
Sure.
be able to. I mean, that's not returns.
Not yet.
The I is a crucial part of that acronym. And he says they've had 10 exits. Well, other than Mailbox and Yammer, which they invested in the Series E.
Right.
And
They just gotta
Mailbox,
double up on
they
that.
didn't put enough to return the fund. It's
Right.
been acqui-hires, and we know you don't make money from acqui-hires.
No, I know that.
I think we do not know performance at all. And if they're going to go out and raise fund, no one's looking at it and saying, well, you've marked your own companies up 30%. I'll give you money.
Given Mike's personal drama, could an LP ever sign up now?
Well, so here's the thing. They can't go back and raise money from the bulk of their existing LPs.
Why?
Because I think that fund was started in a different reality. AOL started it because they wanted to leverage TechCrunch to build a sort of investment bank around startups where you're funding them, you're writing research on them essentially, you're helping take them out to the market. That paradigm doesn't exist anymore, so I don't see AOL putting down another 20 million or whatever they did.
Yeah.
Frankly, a lot of the VCs who put money into it did it because it was part of, TechCrunch ecosystem and they felt like they had to.
Yeah,
so
they were sort of.
it's a different
Well,
reality.
that's one of the most interesting things about this whole chain of events is that controversy.
Right.
And what do you think when you see that, David, as a long-term journalist who tries to stay on one side? When you see that massive inflow of venture capital money into a publisher and a brand name writer like MG, as an old school guy, that's gotta rub you the wrong way.
Well, the lines have been blurring for what all of us do. I mean, look, me and Sarah starting companies, all four of us here have started companies, been selling things as well as covering things. Mm-hmm. It's a very blurry world that we have been forced to live in. So I don't think it's shocking that it could go all the way to the level of investing. But I was struck by all the talk about the sort of almost protection money people felt they had to pay when CrunchFund was started. I was surprised that anyone could feel that beholden. It's just not the way I would ever imagine a journalist working. So if
all right, well, listen, we all have
let
contacts.
Me just say,
Go ahead.
I don't think Mike went to them and said, "You do this or else."
Right.
I think they felt we have
Not that he's never done that kind of thing before.
millions/billions under management.
Right.
To give this thing $1 million on the side that maybe we'll get some extra deal flow,
or
maybe
coverage,
it'll help us get coverage.
Or a fireside chat.
I think that's what it was.
A
I don't
little
think it was
influence on who wins disruption.
extortion
And I
by
wrote
any
at the time,
stretch.
it was really unfair on the team who are at TechCrunch, who had no say in any of this, and was suddenly discovered, oh, I guess we're part of CrunchFund now.
Yeah.
And like every single journalist there immediately went under suspicion of like, well, are they still going to write fairly? Are they going to? And that's why to me
most
was the
didn't even know what
most
was happening.
outrageous thing about CrunchFund. And I wrote this at the time on the day it was announced. In fact, just before it was announced, saying, this is really unfair on everybody here who now is like under the cloud of suspicion of, well, are they now beholden to the CrunchFund? And they weren't. Like Mike didn't say to anyone, as far as I know, on the TechCrunch team, you must write this. I don't think Mike said to any of the people investing in CrunchFund, this is the quid pro quo. But there was this general assumption of, like it's not protection money quite because no one
It's more
came with a
insurance
baseball
money
bat.
than anything
It's insurance
else.
money.
That's what I
exactly.
heard from. And we all. Go ahead, David.
While we're on this, I never really understood the chain of events when CrunchFund was founded ostensibly with Tim Armstrong's blessing and everything, and then like 5 minutes later, Mike was forced out.
Ariana was not looped in.
Ariana Huffington is Tim Armstrong's boss, or at least was then. That's all you have to know about that. So, Tim, as far as I can say...
Tim, I mean, this is to me, everyone points fingers at what went wrong. I say the buck stops with Tim Armstrong, and it's his fault because he acquired two massive personalities in Ariana and Mike, who both have a ton of value, but a ton of potential liability, and he mismanaged the two of them. That's what
And Mike decided to call Ariana a psychopath, was it?
Yeah, psychopath.
Lots of things.
And the trouble is...
publicly he called her a psychopath.
Yeah, he did. And they paid 10
outrageous.
times more for Ariana than for Mike. And Ariana can go on Bill Maher's show and say
Ariana
nasty
stayed
things.
in the company.
So you're not going to side with Mike in that fight.
Yeah.
If you're Tim Armstrong and
you
you're...
guys,
Sorry.
You guys all know Mike better than me, perhaps, but I remember even like 2 or 3 years before this happened, Mike telling me that the problem he was having with selling TechCrunch was that everybody wanted him to stay with it. So maybe this was just a reflection of his longtime desire to get the hell out of there.
No.
I mean, isn't that not true?
Oh, you think he made a situation where he would get fired?
Everyone in New York thinks that. No one out here thinks that.
No. Mike wanted his cake and eat it too.
That's
he wanted
why
to
Mike
sell
is
it
still there.
and get the money, and he wanted to still
there.
Mike is still there.
Show me someone who's taken a part-time job working for the company they've sold.
He gets paid at like $100,000, whatever it is, to show up at their events and make them look not as awful as they are.
6 figures to just show up.
Like
$100,000
or more.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars
events
to
would,
just for 2 days' work.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Yeah, but can you imagine
So
Disrupt
he gets
without
paid
Mike?
5 times the amount of a journalist at TechCrunch to show up for 2 days.
No,
they raised everyone's
You have no
salary
idea how much they get paid now.
20,000 would be a low salary. Let's face it.
Yeah, no.
That's what TechCrunch writers used
Well,
to
I'm saying
pay
maybe
at
he
entry
gets
level.
$200,000 to show up for 2 days.
20, 30, yeah, entry level.
Yeah. So if he's getting paid 5 times or 3 times what a journalist gets there, that's got to be kind of
I don't think they have any
disheartening.
journalists, so it's a hypothetical.
That is a hypothetical. All right, listen, we could talk about Mike Harrigan's shenanigans all day.
But here's the thing with CrunchFund. I think it's as much of all these problems as we've outlined of what does the portfolio really look like, all of that, Mike's own personal issues. I think ultimately it comes down to desire. Does Mike want to raise another fund? I don't think he does, and he needs an MG.
Does Mike
and if
want to
MG's
be
gone,
involved in Silicon Valley anymore? Does he just want to go away?
He moved.
I know he did move, but I mean,
he can't let it go. It's like an abusive relationship.
Yeah, but he's not.
Wow, he can't. No. He cannot let it go. It's the other way round. Stop it. Stop it.
We're not getting into that.
Stop it.
So
it's the other way around. He just cannot let it go. He moved away and he keeps coming
back. But
back.
he cannot be involved enough to be the guy getting deal flow and hand-holding companies. He needs an MG.
Why doesn't he just move on in his life and just leave Silicon Valley and just enjoy the wealth and just get out of this mess?
He might.
He loves to be the center of attention. That's one thing.
Oh, is that what
he loves and hates it?
Yeah.
He likes it on his terms.
That's I think a key point because I remember when we were partners and at the events, you guys were there because you were employees at the time. He would be so rude to the guests at the event, and he couldn't interface with the people who were the sponsors or the guests. And it's very weird.
Mike hires a security guard to stand there so everyone looks at him, but no one can get. It's
he has a security guard.
Oh yeah, well,
Disrupt?
because he
had those when you were there.
No, he was threatened to DLD. There's a reason for that.
I don't
but
think
it's all
so.
about like
He's long had one.
You get the attention for that, but you keep people away. There's a weird love-hate relationship.
He
with
also has
attention.
a security guard to keep other members of the staff away from him.
Oh, that was the great thing about Disrupt this year is the security guard was told to keep
I mean,
the
I will
TechCrunch
say
staff
this:
away
he
from
may
Mike.
have
Like
all
Eric
these
and
foibles.
Alexia, stay away from Mike or
I
whoever.
can't mention names, but yeah, exactly.
The guy does have a certain brilliance that's rather singular, and I think that's one of the reasons he can get away with all these oddities.
What is the brilliance?
And
Well,
twice,
first
I
of
think
all,
the
to
rest of
start-
us are trying to figure that out.
No,
exactly.
we all worked with
I
Mike
think
for a
he had a
reason. Come on.
perspective on the industry really early
Yeah, he
that
does.
allowed him to build TechCrunch
But he
into
doesn't
such a
write
formidable-
anymore about anything.
he's
doesn't.
very good at what he does. I
no,
don't
when
know
he's writing-
No, he
necessarily.
was a great blogger.
He's good.
Yeah,
He was a
which
great blogger.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I don't mean what he does as in CrunchFund, and I say that as one of his portfolio companies. I mean he's great at what he should be doing.
Clearly, he fucked up
Look-
when he invested in your company.
Look, I do think it's interesting.
Dragging the portfolio down.
I do think it's interesting that the portfolio was not informed of MG leaving, given it is
Yeah.
a 3-partner
Yeah.
fund and the
Well,
role
and
he
considering
plays.
I read
think
about
the-
it on
Since
Paris.
we
Lemon.
read
Here's
about
what
it
I
on
was told.
ParisLemon.com.
I was told by people who have been invested in by the fund, who, listen, I'm an angel investor too, and what founders have told me is they invested in the fund because of MG in spite of Mike. I've heard that multiple times. Have
I've
you
heard that from
kind of
some
I've
thing?
heard that from people who've taken their money.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
So portfolio companies took MG and
Took
like
Mike
dealt
because
with
they
Mike.
wanted MG, yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like Mike was the liability, MG was the prize.
We did. I mean, we took their money because of Mike.
We did.
Which turned out not to be necessarily.
How'd that work
the
out for you
best.
guys?
Not great.
Great.
Not
Next
great.
story.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right, so
Click here for a link to Sarah talking about Mike on episode 172 or whatever the fuck it is.
It's the only time I've talked about that.
No, I know. What I did, was there a back channel on that? Well, you don't talk to Mike, period.
I don't.
You're like
Paul
me,
did.
like we don't talk
I
to
don't
Mike.
at all. Paul did recently.
Can't have a toxic
I
person
had
in
to
your life.
recently, but never
Yeah.
again.
all right, let's
It's
talk
interesting.
about-
It's like I just can't have a toxic person. I took the same approach you did. It's just like a hard stop. We're out. Next story.
Facebook reportedly buying Waze for $1 billion. I think David probably has some insights on this. The negotiations reportedly began 6 months ago. The main issue right now is whether or not to bring Waze to the U.S. from Israel. So do you think this is a good deal for Facebook?
David, what do you think?
Well, I think, it's funny. Everybody thought Instagram was an outrageously overpriced deal, and it turns out to have been quite intelligent. I hear the price on this one, and I again think it sounds crazily overpriced. And I must admit, I have not completely been able to draw the lines together as to why they need to own this kind of service. My presumption is that crowdsourcing in general as a concept and with geographical information overlaid onto that has a sort of at least theoretical appeal to Zuckerberg and his team, but I am a little bit scratching my head about how they will integrate it in the short term in a way that could possibly be worth that kind of money. Does
I'll give you
anybody
three
here?
reasons.
Okay,
Okay,
go
let's
ahead,
hear it.
Sarah.
Number one, arms race with Google.
Okay.
Number two, makes mobile far more relevant. Mm-hmm. Because
Exactly
you're talking about, well, I mean, if you're
It's incredibly sticky.
if you're in the Facebook phone and you're talking about all of Facebook being the operating system of your phone, and you're out in the real world and you want to know how to get from point A to point B
I just
or
figured out
interact
what you're
with
talking
it.
about. So what you're saying,
that makes
Sarah.
it gives Facebook another reason that is the thing you are living in.
Wait,
in
so
your
we're going to see
operating
Facebook
system.
Maps by your analysis then?
That's exactly what she's
No,
saying. I
but,
think.
yeah, but it's much more innovative than
Right.
just it one-ups Google.
Right. So basically, what you're saying is, if they have intentions of a Facebook phone in earnest,
Yeah.
and what we've seen is a sort of
Which they
quasi. Well, okay, they don't.
Well, not making the hardware, but if you're
but they're partnering on the hardware, and it seems like that's where 2/3 of the usage is going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to collect the basic assets. This would hint at collecting the basic assets of having your own phone, which is Maps is the number one app for mobile
and
users.
anything, once you have people are obsessing with where they are in the real world via your app on the phone, there's a lot more you can overlay on
I'll tell
top
you,
of that, which I think
one
makes total
interest- yeah.
sense.
Go ahead.
One interesting thing about it is that if you're worried about, if you're Google and you're worried about Facebook Home sort of interposing itself against, in between you and the consumer, this does suggest that Facebook isn't very worried about that, because if anything would piss Google off, if they're worried about that already, would be the idea that Facebook really is trying to assemble something that does begin to look like the full panoply of Google services to offer with an interface that interposes itself between you and Google, right?
Well, everybody's infecting each other's ecosystem, right? So this
Yeah.
is a way to infect iOS and Android simultaneously because this is one of the most sticky apps. I mean, here in Los Angeles, people don't drive without it. I mean, it is essential for LA. What I don't understand is why hasn't anybody replicated this? Because there was technology and a lot of prior art with a company called Dash. That was bought by Blackberry RIM at the time, which was a physical hardware device that sent your motion data. Why hasn't this been, Paul, incorporated into other apps? Like,
well, I mean, I don't know. You're asking why somebody hasn't built a company. I don't know. Maybe they're idiots.
Oh, why isn't it Apple or Google?
I don't know.
For me, it's just easy.
For me, I'm just somebody. I mean, the fact is somebody has.
Google, Apple
somebody
might
has
think
to be
what they have
first,
is good enough.
right? I mean, I didn't know anything about this app, by the way, until very recently. And John Orland from TechCrunch, last time I saw him, we were driving, and he said, "Well, why aren't you using Wave thing?" I said, "I have no idea what you're talking about.
Waze.
What's it called? Waze?
Waze?
See, I've never heard of it."
Right.
And he said, "Oh, you have to check this thing out." And and it's magic. It's really like getting around Vegas. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Because Vegas is quite hard to figure out where the hell you're supposed to be driving. It just seems to me like a really obvious move. If you're interested in being able to target ads at people, it just seems to me that Facebook is really good at that very specific ad targeting. And we were talking yesterday to Michael Carney from Pando, who was saying the thing that's really working for Facebook ads at the moment is that ability to, if somebody abandons their cart on bestbuy.com or whatever,
retarget,
to immediately say
because you always have a Facebook tab open.
And now with this is incredible. You can say to a physical store, they're getting away. I know where this person is. They're driving away from your store. Get them back.
Catch them.
And you can send out some
droids
to get you.
The
way to look at it.
Seems as simple as that to me.
The thing is about taking the web, which used to be this weird virtual world thing, and then Facebook really, really brought us into the era of your real personality online and melding the two, and now taking the web into the physical world. It's a good way for them to do it.
It's a great data buy.
I love talking with you guys about this. This is smart stuff. I'm learning a lot. I want to just put in a plug. Can I put in a plug for Techonomy's event next week? Because we're going to have Corey Andreka as the closing talk at that event.
Who is that?
Heads mobile for Facebook. So
Facebook.
He heads mobile at Facebook. So if you want to, maybe come and
absolutely. Hey, speaking of a pause for the cause, let me stop for a moment here and tell you all to go to Techonomy's Internet of Things on May 16th. No, let me tell you about MailChimp. That's easy.
Internet of everything.
Here we go.
Now MailChimp I actually do use.
Hold on a second. We're done. That's it. That's a commercial. Here, this is for Baby
I was going to say, can I have one of those for my kids?
that's for Baby Evie. Gets a MailChip.
You can't actually hear the words MailChimp without thinking of that squeaky noise.
I love it.
It's like the
I
Intel
love everything
noise.
about their branding. I love the cute chimp. I love the, And
I actually love their product, I have to say.
Everybody loves the product. You use it?
We use it for everything.
We use it for our newsletters.
Yeah.
Exactly. So 3 out of 3 here use it. Do you use it, David? Or you use a subpar competitor?
I think we use it. No, actually, we don't use it.
Okay, well, there you go. 75% of people who are in publishing are using it at this table, and you will be using it
Maybe we
next.
should. I'm not denying it.
It's genuinely really good. Yeah.
If I lived in San Francisco, I'd be smarter.
Facebook?
Go ahead.
So, I mean, I think we should say one more thing about the price, because David said everyone thought Instagram was crazy at $1 billion. I think this is an East Coast, West Coast thing, because no one in the Valley thought $1 billion was a crazy price to pay for Instagram.
Well, because when you're worth $100 billion or $80 billion, $90 billion, it's 1%.
Exactly.
So you got to think about
And
it.
it's like,
Does it
you guys
make your
are
company
always
1%
so excited
better,
about
or
your
does it
own
protect
things.
downside?
No, you got to make these there's such a cultural thing here. You got to make these purchases when you're still a hot company.
Yes.
Before you get to the Yahoo stage. This is what Google did brilliantly with YouTube.
Yep.
You've got to make these big ballsy purchases when you have a good currency and you are not the has-been awful place to work. And because the thing is, even if someone sells for money, they don't want to go into work. They don't see a future with you.
Right.
So I think this is also a way for Google to get really, really good talent in.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
Yeah. All right, listen. And MailChimp provides 2,000 subscribers.
Sorry, we're still in an ad.
What I love about this is absolutely interrupt the commercial, because now you can't skip the commercial because Sarah's
native
gonna say something
advertising.
It's,
Sorry,
it's so
TiVo
native.
people, because everyone TiVos this show.
This is some
Every so
native
often
shit
I'm just
right
going to
now.
make the MailChimp noise so that
That's
can't.
Listen.
You know what's also good? The Resumator. I love the Resumator.
Absolutely, but let's not stop on MailChimp's time to tell you that 2,000 subscribers and 12,000
Resumator
emails
uses MailChimp
per month. They do. They use each other's, and it's a rip in the space fabric of the sponsorships of the show. MailChimp is constantly releasing new awesome features like mobile-friendly email templates, and with version 8, you have multi-user access. So you could have one person who puts in the email newsletter, another person who manages the list, another person, Sarah or Paul.
We have our ads in one, content in one.
So somebody can't.
I'm going to ask my guy why we don't use it, by the way.
You should. Absolutely, you
And
should.
they
See if he
also
makes the
sponsor
noise.
everything.
And let me tell you something. No contract. And you pay as you go. And when somebody has no contract, Paul's like,
Such a used car salesman.
oh God,
What do I have to do to get you into MailChimp right now?
I don't have to to do this either. I love reading the ads.
I think Evie is just right now set up a MailChimp account. She's
Evie's
sold.
first words are going to
Listen,
be
Evie, what's it going to take? Evie needs to start building her footprint now, and there are people who would want to hear from Evie what she's working on and where she's going.
the Evie newsletter.
Every newsletter, every daily, the
Yes.
Evie Daily.
Both of my babies
every
helped me
single
raise a
day.
round of capital. They can help a lot of
Absolutely.
people.
Eli got a term sheet.
All right,
Before
thank
me.
you. Everybody
Yep.
say thank you at MailChimp.
Thank you
And
at MailChimp.
As you know, at Paul Carr and at Sarah Kuda both use MailChimp. And David Kirkpatrick,
Will.
it's pay as you
Will.
go. You will. You will. Next story.
All right, this 3D printed gun, I think, is worth talking about.
Okay, show the video.
Show the video.
That's it. Show the video. Here we go. Look at this production.
Roll
Where is
VT.
it there?
Right behind you.
Oh.
All right, this is a dude. He's putting in earplugs.
Agreed.
He's got a
Actually-
plastic gun. Now, does this blow up and then rip off his hand? 'Cause
No,
he's
He's
this is-
worried that it's about to. Yeah,
That's
you
what
can
I'm
see-
hoping.
This is Cody Wilson, the guy who
That's the
designed
price
it.
of freedom.
All right. So it's the end of
Listen to
days.
his father. Oh, his father at the end basically says, "Good job, son."
All right.
Of course he does.
He's a law
Okay,
student
go
at the
ahead, what do you
he's a
wanna
law
tell- what do you
student
wanna
at the
tell?
University of
For freedom.
Texas. He's in Forbes' description a radical
Is now.
libertarian and an anarchist.
Oh, good
He's been
times.
working on this since last
Pass the
summer.
swear jar.
The gun is 15 out of the 16 pieces were printed on his 3D printer. One piece was a nail that came, it's a common hardware store nail.
Okay.
Of course, some people not so happy about this. New York Senator Chuck Schumer, New York Congressman Steve
He's not
Israel
pleased about anything.
are calling for legislation to ban 3D guns. The State Department has kindly requested that the site hosting the designs remove the schematics while they review possible violations with international traffic and arms regulations. So, how is this going to
Paul
play
has
out?
so much
Paul's-
to say.
Don't
Yeah,
you
I
love
mean-
that trying to ban 3D guns? I mean, that's the mindset of Washington. Let's just ban things because we don't like them. Forget about whether
Just
we can
ban things because you could shoot people in the head with them. I mean, let's come on now. I mean, hold on.
Hold on, wait,
It's
David, are you advocating?
I'm Washington. I hate every
I'm
piece
just
of
saying,
innovation.
The whole point of building it was to show that you can't stop people from building
They
it.
were
and
so
So
that's
therefore
what
it should
Schumer
be
doesn't
legal,
get.
David?
They were so quick to ban those underwear bombs, the shoe bombs.
I don't think
Why
it
won't they
matters
let
whether it's
innovation
legal or not.
thrive? Fuck you. I mean, not you, David, but everyone else.
Well, he just basically. No, hold on a second. Paul, make
Yes.
your point, then I'll go back to counterpoint.
Sorry,
with-
I don't-
I'm going to cede my time to Paul for
Absolutely.
this
Go
one.
ahead, Paul.
Fuck.
Okay,
Travis
you're from a
Kalanick
country where
likes
there's no
this.
guns.
No, we have plenty of guns.
You have like 7
but
in the whole
only
country.
criminals have them. Yeah, we have 37, I think, gun-related murders last year compared to the 11,000 you did. I got that
Yeah.
out from Piers Morgan, by the way.
Alex
I
Jones.
don't
and
know if
Piers
it's the
Morgan.
Alex Jones.
Okay, if you're going to
76 will happen again.
if you are going to take our guns, we're going to hold on. I need to wipe the sweat off me.
I know. And then he says
guy's a
afterwards, I was
disaster.
sick. That's why I was sweating. You
Oh God, Alex
conspiracy
Jones, is
psychopath.
Well, you know what the most loathsome thing about Alex Jones is?
No, everything.
Everything.
Pick
But aside
one.
from everything,
Yeah.
the most loathsome thing is he believes none of it. He just wants to
Yeah.
get YouTube subscribers.
Yeah.
It's 100% an act.
But then you're paid by the CIA to say that. False flag, Jason. False flag.
False flag. But what do you?
That
But
guy.
let's talk about the plastic guns. In all seriousness,
All right, so
it
here's
is
the
a
thing.
serious issue that people will be able to make a gun in a state where you're not allowed to have a pistol, and obviously somebody's going to make one of these, commit a crime, and or kill somebody.
I think this is the classic libertarian argument of.
Well, let Paul go.
This is the
The
classic
people
libertarian.
who are good. I'm sorry. Go.
Don't make me
Paul.
come over there with my plastic gun, David.
Paul.
Freedom isn't free,
gun.
etc. So I think this is a classic libertarian argument, and a certain type of libertarian, I should say. Not all libertarians. Some of them have a brain, but it's the classic libertarian argument of there is a law, so therefore we must find a way to disrupt it, which is the Uber thing. Which is, I know you're an investor, but
Yep.
still, fuck them. And it's the idea of the government wants to ban guns. It's this mindset of the government is going to come for our guns. We have to defend ourselves against the government. There's actually no suggestion, no evidence that the evil government is going to come and take your guns. No one wants your fucking guns.
Yeah.
Like, as in, no, the government isn't trying to, like, take over in an armed blah, blah, blah. Like, it's all horseshit.
Well, what about
you just like guns.
plastic
Admit
guns?
it.
Should you ban them
so
or
here's
not?
the point. Here's the point. Yes.
Printable guns.
Well, so here's the point. These people just want to prove that the government can't tell them what to do.
Right.
And
They're
you
making
hear
a
all the
point.
rhetoric. But the trouble is that's all well and good. If the only people are these fucking anarchist libertarian nerds shooting them in a desert, that's all fine. The reason why we have laws that say guns, for example, can't be invisible to metal detectors, the reason why we have arms trafficking, and the reason this thing was asked to be taken down was because arms trafficking, blueprints are included. If you publish blueprints for guns and send them overseas, which the internet inherently does, that's illegal. So that's what they did. They just simply said, we're trying to figure out what to do with the law. We request that you take it down. And, like the principled guy is, he immediately complied and rolled over and then whined about it. But the point is, like these are really dangerous. Bad people will print these guns out and kill people. I don't understand the argument, the counter argument.
David, do you have a counter argument to this?
Freedom.
You feel it should be free to do this?
It's just freedom.
I think that anyone who's interested in making a gun with a 3D printer and doing something we wouldn't like with that is not going to care whether it's banned by law or not. So,
pragmatist argument.
It's really a kind of, I think it's an excessive respect for the power of government that Paul's indicating there. I think this is, unfortunately, one of those deterministic developments that I honestly ultimately find positive, to be honest, because I think that it will force society to rethink the way that general behavior is conducted. The fact is the plans for this or something equivalent will be on Al-Qaeda's website. What are you going to do about that? No law is going to prevent that. So will we have a society where people learn to get along or not? I mean,
okay, Sarah, next. Go ahead.
Okay, but that's like saying, well, people who are, assholes and want to kill people are going to kill people, so we shouldn't have laws against murder.
why ban murder?
I mean, the point is you don't know. You don't know if it might deter someone. You don't know if it might make it harder. You don't know if then we have a reason to put a psychopath in jail because that's what we catch them on. I mean, I think just the fact of saying, hey, well, it's not really going to work to ban it, so let's not ban it.
And again, look, it's like the argument of like
a big believer in the disruptive potential of 3D printers, and I think to try to regulate what's made on them is just a losing battle. Maybe you should have a law. Who cares? I don't care whether there's a law or not, because I don't think whether there's a law or not is going to deter
But this is like
people
saying
by
that
any substantial measure.
this is like saying with a basic kitchen you can make meth. And why should we regulate what people can make on cookers? Well, because there are certain things that possessing them is bad for society. And frankly, a gun that's invisible to metal detectors is one of those things. And it's about society saying, you know what? You don't need this fucking gun. If this is about defending yourself from like the tyrannical government, why does it matter if it's plastic and invisible? Why don't you just use a regular gun? It'll be just fine. And by the way, the government will win that fight anyway. So if that's what you're really concerned about.
In reality, there will be a law. So you're right in a de facto
I'm just saying that there's a lot of talk about disruption and this idea, and it's all in a bubble of, well, in the principle of freedom trumps everything. The principle of disruption, society will figure this shit out. In my country where we have a ban on guns, 33 people last year got killed by guns. In a country here where, in a country
I'm not
here,
a believer in guns. I don't.
11,000 people got killed. It seems to me that having the law, but everyone always says, well, bad people will get them anyway. Let's make it a bit harder. That's all I'm saying. And let's make it a bit easier for the good guys. And there are good guys and bad guys. To see those guns when someone's trying to take them onto a fucking plane.
Okay, but could we step to a higher level for a second?
Sure.
Because, I mean, the reason I like stories like this, even though ultimately I think it's probably true that maybe a law isn't a bad idea, but the reality is the majority of people in the United States and business leaders everywhere, they don't have a clue what's happening with 3D printing. A story like this forces the realization on more people that the pace of technology's change is really becoming more and more disruptive and unregulatable, and frankly, I find that healthy. So that's why we're talking about it. But the reality is 3D printing's been around for a while. It's getting cheaper and cheaper. I mean, 2 blocks from where I'm sitting is MakerBot's store, where you can buy a whole bunch of interesting 3D printers for $2,000. People don't realize that. But I think more people need to know that.
What's great about this is it takes 2 existing arguments that are going on, like in 2 memes. Like we have gun control over here, which is a deadly serious issue, which our country is absolutely incapable of solving for any number of reasons. And then you have this incredible trend of 3D printing. And when those 2 things collide, it's just incredibly messy. But it is a good learning moment because I think this actually could potentially move the gun control debate forward. Do you think that's possible?
Can I say one other thing, which is, by the way, I'm unusual amongst Brits. I actually don't think America necessarily needs harsher gun control laws. I like American.
We just need bullet laws.
No, I think America and its guns are just fine, and it's so rooted in America that the gun ownership thing.
You're not going to. They should be able to close loopholes, though.
Right.
Come on.
So no.
Well, everybody agrees on that. We just can't pass the law.
Here's what I do agree on.
Here's
what I do agree on. Background checks, absolutely. You do not need an assault rifle, like all of that stuff. But I'm not like take away the guns. I'm not take away. But I do think something like a gun that's invisible to metal detectors, there is no need for that except to do bad.
Yeah.
Sports do not need that. To defend your home against criminals, you do not need that.
What's great about these people,
crime.
I like the fact that these people exist in society, these like liberal, this libertarian, like anarchist knuckleheads who are like, I need to do this. But I think your point, Paul, that's just so awesome is they're so principled about this has to exist until they get like a letter.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
all cave.
burn it,
Every
melt it.
time.
Next story.
I know, it's like,
They fold like yesterday's laundry.
Yeah,
it's
they do.
unbelievable. They
All right.
fold like little bits.
So we know Jason's a Tesla fanboy. I don't know about the rest of you,
I've
but
heard.
I'm an Elon
Musk
Musk
was
fangirl,
talking
John.
about
Yes, we all are. Here we go.
autopilot systems in Google. Now, he believes driver-assisted technology is a logical evolutionary step in car development, and he prefers autopilot, like driving over self-driving, right? And he thinks that the current Google sensor system is too expensive. It's better, cheaper to have optical cameras and data input processing.
right.
Of course, Tesla also this week hit a new record, 59,
10% today
90.
too. It's a 10 billion, almost a 10
Up
million company.
76% year to date.
Love it.
So Larry and Sergey invested in Tesla before its IPO. So is Tesla going to be the first car in a mass-produced way that's going to have
I'm
some
going
of
to go
this?
out on a limb here and say that Google is going to buy Tesla. I said that 6 months ago, a year ago. It's pretty obvious that Google and Apple will eventually produce cars, televisions. They're going to produce everything that has any kind of technological basis to it. The car company is now stable. It's going to sell for $15 billion in the next 24 months. I don't have any inside information. Obviously, I know Elon personally, but I don't have any inside information. But they obviously are friends because they've invested in stuff together, including each other's companies, Solar City, everything. What do you guys think?
I don't know that I like Tesla as part of Google.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
I mean,
I just think it's the
like
inevitability.
Tesla being, the modern Ford, the modern, like really kind of bringing back the glory days and having the space and the financial wherewithal to really drive the price point down. I mean, the only problem, it's hard to find something to not like about the story, basically, but like the only thing
Sure,
that's
it's an
bad about
$80,000
it
car,
is,
$70,000 car.
yeah, it would be great if it was mass market. And it's
But he's
like,
cut the price in half once. When do you think he'll cut it in half again?
So, well, I think it'll be another 3 years, don't you think? Till
Yeah,
cheaper
2,
ones are on
3.
the market.
On the
and
mar-
I'd like
yeah.
to see him be able to do that. And I don't know if that's really going to be Google's
Yeah.
emphasis. So, I mean, I hope they stay independent personally. But I know he's also sick of being CEO of 2 companies. So
That's kind of brutal. What do you think?
I would agree
David,
that the idea that Google should become some sort of new age digital conglomerate and own everything that's really done more interestingly because of digital technology and innovation is not really reasonable to me. I think that Google's going to do much better to the degree it remains a platform and software focused company, and I think its ownership of Motorola is generally an aberration. But I do think that in order for self-driving cars to really have the social impact that we all believe they deserve to have sooner rather than later, you need a visionary like Elon Musk to be trying to build product based on that. And I don't think Google thinks that it is going to be the car maker,
when do
assuming
you
it doesn't
think,
buy
David,
Tesla.
when do you think self-driving cars will hit the market? True self-driving in Google sense, not like I'm lane changing or I'm drifting or, I'm doing auto responsive.
I would think 4 or 5 years at the
You
outside.
think
I think
5
8.
years? Yeah, I'm more in the closer to 10 than 5. So let's just play that game. Closer to 5, closer to 10, Sarah.
yeah, I think it's 8. I just think
So
there's
closer to 10.
Yeah, I think
David,
there's cost.
you think it's closer to 5?
I'd say 5 easy.
Whose car is it going to be? Who are they going to
I
put
think the
that?
cars will make their own decision. I think the cars will enter the market when they're good and ready. And when they're ready to make that decision
the question
themselves,
is
they're
more,
ready.
again, going
Mercedes
back
has
to
it, right? They just didn't put it out. I mean, Mercedes actually had this built in. They
Yeah.
just
Well, there's 2 different things here. There's adaptive driving, which is I'm in a lane, I put on automatic, it puts me in my lane, I don't get out of my lane, I don't hit the car in front of me, I don't hit the car behind me. If somebody gets in front of me, it automatically slams on the brakes.
Yeah.
So that's like autopilot. But what we're talking
People
about is
have that now.
self-driving, which means I take my phone and I'm like Batmobile, and it pulls up outside, and then I'm like, take me here, and then I take a nap.
Yeah, it's
Drive me to
gotta
Vegas
be
and I
10
sleep.
years.
yeah. The answer is not soon enough.
And also before, and the point where people trust them as well, because that's really
well,
scary.
it goes back to the issue of law that we were discussing before.
I think the
How
laws are
soon-
actually. I think most like Nevada, where I live,
The first
Nevada's already said we love it, bring it on. I mean, just don't be drunk.
In fairness to Nevada,
Yeah.
there's no laws there
I would
anyway.
say 4 years, not 5.
They don't
I was going to
really.
say anything would improve the driving in Nevada. Frankly, just allowing
God.
a regular car to drive itself
When
would be
the-
safer.
Well, listen,
horrifying.
Yeah.
When the municipality makes an ad campaign saying you're going to come here and do things that are so illegal
Yeah.
that if your friends
me about it.
talk about them,
Right. Yeah.
you're never going to be friends with them again.
Yeah.
Like that's their.
you should ostracize them.
Yeah, they're
When their
basically.
city slogan is, you don't want to know. That's
Yeah,
it.
the city
Welcome to
slogan is,
Vegas. You do not want to know.
We're embarrassed for you.
Yeah.
Welcome to Vegas. You're a complete, utter mess. Thank you for coming to Vegas.
Yeah.
Next story.
Okay, so I know Sarah wanted to talk about John Doerr trying to get back on top of the
Can we?
VC
Oh,
pack.
hold on a second. Somebody cue up the video of John Doerr crying at TED. Go ahead. Do I have somebody back there who's working the computer?
You can
I'm
reenact
not sure.
Okay, thank you. I want you to cue up the TED Talk when he starts crying. It's like towards the end, he starts crying about going to TED on his private jet.
Oh my God.
And the environment that he's leaving to his daughter. But he flew to TED on a private jet,
That's
and he's crying.
you have to cry at TED.
Tell
now.
the
The
story.
bar has got so high now at TED
All right.
to get a standing ovation.
I would cry if I had to go to TED. Go.
I agree.
So Kleiner Perkins didn't get in early on some big deals like we know.
All big deals.
Facebook, Groupon, LinkedIn, for instance. In 2012, it only had 2 IPOs or sales worth $200 million or more, compared to Sequoia's 9, Excel's 6, Greylock's 5. He called 2012 a very challenging year. Their investments in green tech were too big and broad, but he remains bullish about the green space. Firm is returning to its previous method of making investments, where it's the entire partnership rather than a small group. They have a system called Dragnet to track their recruiting efforts, App Store
All right,
rankings,
if you have a
et cetera.
system, I just want to point out, if you have a system to get, all that kind of stuff, once somebody says they have a system, that means they're a failure. Keep going.
System
The
to
system of like being a VC.
With a partnership, with a small partnership, yes.
Yeah, like if you've got a system, like you don't need a system. You need to be somebody that people want to have on their boards. Keep going.
All right. Basically, can they get back on top, and is the green tech boom still coming?
Good. This is you.
So I'm really interested in this because we have John Doerr in San Francisco this month for Pando Monthly, which is
God.
going to be a great conversation.
Do you think he'll cry?
I'm
You
gonna
realize
make
you
it.
failed if he doesn't cry.
No, look, I think that to me, the 5-6 years ago was such an interesting time to watch Sequoia and Kleiner Perkins.
Yeah.
These were the two firms that were,
The gold
bar
standard.
none, the gold standard. The only two firms that really were the brand had superseded the individual partners. And
Agree.
they both really diverged. And I pitched we should do a Business Week cover story about this. No one listened to me at the time. But they really diverged. Sequoia really stuck to its knitting of
Double down.
classic venture capital,
Yeah. Early
having a
stage.
small number of partnerships, some, really being disciplined on valuation, all this. Now, Sequoia didn't get in Facebook because of personal issues. And
Yeah,
they
Sean
missed some
Parker.
other deals too. But look, they had YouTube, they had LinkedIn, they got their fair share of pretty big deals, and they did
Green
some
Dot.
interesting stuff overseas. Meanwhile, Kleiner Perkins brought in Colin Powell, Al Gore, started getting into this,
What?
started getting this whole cult of bringing in other people who had nothing to do with venture capital as these advisors, and what does that do? They almost turned into like a think tank or a consultancy. They started
Weak.
getting so far away from what classic venture capital was, and you had this ballsy bet of, Randy Commissar, John Doerr saying, the web is over, consumer web is over,
how'd that
and
work out?
we're going to go into clean tech, something that's government regulated and influenced and
Government
subsidized.
sponsored. I mean, the government's
which-
the customer.
Yeah, which every other VC, since going back to the history of Silicon Valley, from the time it really broke from like being subsidized by the war machine, stays away from.
Yeah.
And a lot of people called it arrogance on Kleiner Perkins, part.
Do you call it arrogance or stupidity?
Well, I think all VCs are arrogant, don't you?
Sure.
The good ones sort of have to be.
Yeah.
To say I'm going to pick and choose what's going to be the next whatever. I think
Yeah.
there's a healthy arrogance in
A
venture
healthy
capital.
arrogance. Not only do they feel they can pick it, they feel they can make it.
Right.
It's like I can pick it, and if I picked wrong,
Look,
I'll manifest it.
I think on the one hand, I'm always a fan of someone breaking from the herd in venture capital.
All right,
So
how'd
the
you-
fact that Kleiner Perkins tried to do something dramatically different,
Yeah.
at least
Just-
they tried to do it.
it didn't
but
seem-
they picked all the wrong
Yeah, it wasn't
moves.
strategized properly. Let's watch John Doerr cry and then have David Kirkpatrick comment on the crying. Volume.
Because if we do, I can look forward to the conversation I'm going to have with my daughter in 20 years.
What was he
And
crying
then look
about?
at Chris Anderson comes and gives him a hug. Oh, how will you ever go on with your billions of dollars? Oh, can I get a ride back on your G4?
That's
10.
just
hate
revolting.
Chris
so
Anderson
much.
coming and like, oh God, that was so amazing. You touched so many
You're
people's
wonderful.
hearts.
Sarah Silverman, get out of here.
Yes.
Yeah, Sarah
We
Silverman.
would like to apologize to Sarah Silverman for saying something even slightly controversial. Next year, we'll have
it's-
fucking John Doerr crying.
And then there's just like, yeah, I'll tell you my TED story. Oh, yeah, no, David Kirkpatrick.
I do
go on,
want to hear
Klein.
your TED story.
I got
Did you
First
cry?
of all, I hesitate to say anything about venture capital alongside you guys. I mean, listening to Sarah talk about it, I learn an enormous amount. I honestly am very impressed.
Well,
at
talk
the
about green tech.
subtlety of
To be
her-
clear, I know nothing about venture capital.
Yeah, but he will say a lot. So,
yeah, I will say a lot
go
about
ahead.
nothing.
Green
Well,
tech.
let me just say that I think it's really interesting that they did sort of say the consumer internet is over. It sort of reminds me of, Steve Jurvetson, another person I respect a lot, getting all excited about nanotech.
Yeah.
The thing is about digital consumer businesses, they have network effects. They can get really big really fast. And, John seems to have somehow along the way lost this realization that the reason he made so much money on a lot of his other investments is because of that. And he thought, oh, there's this other thing, green tech, which, by the way, does not generally have network effects or anything comparable. And it was a big mistake. And unfortunately for them, there probably isn't anything else that does have the kind of scope of an ability to scale in short periods of time as internet consumer business.
More loathsome, Paul, crying at TED or printing a 3D plastic gun. More loathsome.
The government wants to take our freedoms. And
Can I say one thing in favor of John Doerr and clean
I
tech?
thought you were going to say 3D guns. I was going to say, no, you cannot.
We'd like to thank everybody in MailChimp for printing a 3D complimentary 3D guns for everybody.
Everyone claims that, venture capitalists, we wanted flying cars and they brought us 140 characters. Everyone
Right.
bitches about venture capitalists building more and more photo apps and not
Sure.
doing real technology and things good for humanity. At least they tried.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not all bad.
Yeah,
Their
I
intent
give
wasn't
them-
all bad. Their strategy was wrong, though. In hindsight, their strategy was wrong.
Yeah, they bet the.
I agree with that also.
I think they bet the.
But I totally disagree with Peter Thiel about the flying cars thing.
Well, here's
So
the head
thank you
fake.
for saying that.
When you see the internet and you think, my God, this is incredibly disruptive, and there'll be something else that's incredibly disruptive, there might be, but it might be a 50-year story, which is,
Right.
in other words, a story that outlasts any of us. So if it's a
And
50...
it probably shouldn't be subsidized by the government. I think that is a key point of clean tech.
Yeah. It does make most of the companies weaker. If you look at Fisker, it's so clear that Henry Fisker had no business doing anything but drawing, in a notebook. He had no idea how to run a company. His cars went on fire.
Well, and let's not forget
His
the
car's literally
reason
turned off on the
that
road, went on
they
fire.
invested
Yeah,
in
that's bad.
Fisker and not Tesla. Kleiner Perkins could have had Tesla.
Yeah.
John Doerr refused to go on the board, right?
It was some story like that, yeah. It was.
Elon told it at our Pando Monthly.
Yeah.
I think it was Doerr wouldn't go on the board, and they wanted to pay a lower valuation, and it was he was like, well, I want John Doerr on the board if that's gonna be the case, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and it was
So they
also.
made some missteps. It wasn't just the strategy.
that he should be crying about.
You also have to be founder focused. I mean, I think to Sequoia's credit, there was this idea that maybe they were too heavy handed with some founders early on, and they really course corrected for that. And now
Right.
they're just like, we're 1,000% founder focused. We are the founder advocates. And I know they've been a tremendous advocate of me, even though I've had an up and down couple of years.
Have they?
Oh my God, relentless. I mean, listen, Mahalo got its ass kicked. We lost 90% of our traffic and revenue after the Panda update.
Right.
No relation to Pando Daily. And Roloff is still flying down here for the meetings. And I told Roloff, listen, if you want to come off the board, I know I'm kind of a loser company right now. I mean, I'm going to rebound it with Inside. But if you want to take a break, I'll run the board meetings. And then when I got something, I'll come back or I'll give you your money back or whatever you want to do. And they were like, no, we support you 1,000%. And then I saw Doug Leone and it's like, listen, Jason, we support you. You're going to make it happen. We believe in you. And if not this company, the next. And we want first.
That's impressive because they haven't
That's
always
a
been that
wonderful
way.
story, actually.
Yeah, no, they listen. There was the whole thing. I think
tearing up slightly
when
over
Michael
that story.
Moritz and Sean Parker had their thing over Plaxo, and there was that little bit of a fight.
There was a lot of blame for everyone in that situation.
Listen, whatever it was, nobody knows, and it's like Rashomon. There's 5 sides to the story. But when they had that blowout, I think what happened was Roloff came in and he sorted through that bad blood with everybody.
There were issues with Peter Thiel. There were issues with Tony Hsieh. This is not just a Sean Parker.
Right, and I think that was, if you look at that time period, that was the 90s and
Yeah.
into the early part of the 2000s.
Look, Sequoia got humbled, and I think it's good when everyone gets humbled.
Losing Facebook, and they're hungry now, and they are relentless about supporting entrepreneurs. And when I had my problems with Mike, or I had my problems with this, or whatever, the Panda update, they were just like, we back you, you're our founder. And then, people don't know it, but I'm also an LP in their funds, and I was part of the Scout program. I mean, I'm involved with them 3 or 4 different ways. They support my event. I mean, and I'm kind of a loser entrepreneur in the portfolio as it's marked now. They may have written off the Mahalo investment completely. I don't know.
After the Panda update.
Yeah, I mean,
What is the Panda update? I'm sorry.
Google updated its search algorithms, and I went from having a $500,000
right.
in revenue a month to having 100.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't really talked about the story. It's kind of painful, but that's what I spent the last year and a half doing, is trying to recover this business. And
Right.
then Inside.com.
Q4 Pando Monthly. We will get into it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm going to be the guest.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Then I'll tell it there. Save it for that next
Pando
story.
update.
That's a story I'd like to hear. That's pretty.
Well, listen,
interesting.
it's like getting screwed by Google, and then you know everybody at Google, and I'm like literally calling the top people at Google saying like, hey, how can I get help? And they're like, hey, I've got a Justice Department thing. We can't help you. You know, like,
Wow.
I'm a 10-year partner with Google. They put Weblogs Inc. and Engadget as the case study when they went public. Engadget was, and Weblogs was the case study along New York Times for AdSense and their public offering.
Wow.
And I was like a loyal soldier for a decade. I've made $25 million in AdSense revenue and YouTube revenue with them over the past decade, and they threw me under the bus and killed me.
Well, not just you.
Well, everybody. And you know what? And guess what? You could have all the connections in the world, people. I had all the connections in the world, did nothing for me.
Well, that's the thing about Silicon Valley. People think it's so cozy, and it's cozy up until a point, but everyone has their job
it's
to
cozy
do.
until the Justice Department is investigating you for your search rankings,
Yeah.
and you have to destroy
Or
every...
your returns are threatened, or your company's
Or
threatened.
anything.
Maybe
Right.
energy will fit in at Google.
Hey, next story. Let's
right.
do this story about the Adobe.
Okay. I thought you would want to talk about YouTube since that was.
No one cares
I don't
about
care
that
about
story.
the
I'm,
YouTube
I'm,
story.
I'm so out of the YouTube ecosystem.
Yeah, I think
we
YouTube
can talk
is
about that when we
more
have
All right,
before
so
then. I don't want to
Adobe-
talk about YouTube right now because I'm in the middle of that relationship ending as well.
Okay, Adobe is retiring its Creative Suite to focus entirely on the Creative Cloud. That means that you will only be able to get your favorite software through the cloud.
Which is like Photoshop. And
Exactly, Lightbox, Dreamweaver, etc. So they're killing off Fireworks as well. The cost is going to be $40 a month for the first year. If not, these are for teams with CS3 or later. If not, $70 a month. Students, it's going to be $20 a month. They're going to be teams for education.
$70 a month
For teams, yes.
for teams. Okay.
Yes.
That's
If-
expensive software. That's
Yeah, no,
ridiculous.
it's always $1,000 to buy.
So, and there's some people who are upset about this because they like the way it's always been, and
Okay.
There are those who, of course, are used to pirating their software as well. It's going to be a little bit
those
harder
that
are
was
the
my
with
people
bullet.
subscription.
upset. Yeah.
That was my bullet.
Sorry.
That was David's
Paul's
bullet.
too.
Thank you for that.
So, how long before the diehards embrace the change?
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
So we just started a print magazine.
Yes.
And we have a bunch of people who need InDesign in our team. And before cloud, we would have had to have spent a shit ton of money. Now, if we were an unethical startup,
$1,500 each, basically.
right, and if we were an unethical startup, and I've tried to do everything, like we pay our journalists well, we have healthcare for everyone, and
Yeah.
we don't steal fucking software. But there are lots of companies who would be like, there is no universe in which we can afford that. We will pirate it. Now, I was so happy when someone on our team said, we can do this cloud thing where we just pay 20, 40, whatever it is, dollars a month. It's so great. And if
Not
we were,
upfront cost, yeah.
No, and if we were even considering pirating it, there's just no way. It would just be, it's so much better and easier and cheaper, and we get the...
And you don't have to do the suite. You can do one program
Precisely.
for, what is it, 19
It's
or something
for
like that?
small media companies like ours, it's fucking fantastic.
And that's where
Because you can
publish-
grow with
and
it.
that's where
Yeah, we can grow with it,
publishing is
exactly.
going,
It's so good. It
I
basically
completely agree with
decimates
that.
the case for piracy. There is no justification. I mean, there'll still be people who do try
Yeah.
and get around it and whatever else, but A, it makes it much harder to pirate, and B, there's no good case. There's no.
Let me ask a question, though,
defense for it now.
technically about this. Does anybody know if you can still download the software or if it's in the cloud, in the web?
It still runs locally.
So it still
I assume
runs
it just
locally.
checks in every so
It just
often.
checks in.
Yeah, I assume.
But
Yeah,
you won't
because
be
that
able to
software
give
is
it to
too
your friend
powerful
the way
to-
you could before.
Yeah, you don't stream it. It's on the machine.
Well, this is great. Now they're going to also know who their customers are. I mean, this is
Yeah.
basically like them becoming like Evernote,
Well,
right?
this is
They're
what
a
I
SaaS
love.
company now.
Is
Yeah.
this is one of those business cases that you articulate and you think, why isn't every big software company doing this? This is clearly the future. Why aren't you doing
Salesforce,
this?
yeah.
And they almost always never do. And what's fascinating about these guys doing it, I would have thought Adobe would be one of the last because there's no competitive threat in the market. They own that market,
Right.
particularly when they bought Macromedia. They own that market. There is
Yeah.
no pressure on them whatsoever
And
to
they
do
have not
this.
proved
And I
themselves to
love
be
that
smart and
it's an
forward-thinking
offensive
before.
move versus a defensive
Yeah.
move. I think it's really smart.
It's brilliant. But they must have run a model at some point, I think, that says, given the piracy, like I think what a lot of companies do is they buy one copy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly.
Like I remember when I was doing publishing, like we would buy one copy
Yeah.
and we would have one machine to do that work,
Yeah.
and people would switch off and on that machine.
Yeah.
So there was a machine for Photoshop,
That's exactly what people do.
and then you would have to. It was like, this is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, that's the point. It's the
exhausting.
friction thing of like,
Yeah.
it's exhausting to do. But if you're saving $10,000, you can do it.
Well-
but if you're saving $20. I mean, that's the psychology. Is like, you're saving $20. Let's just put it on another machine.
And even if over the lifetime you pay it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, exactly.
David, go.
Much more over
I just, I'm in New York, and there's a lot of creative community here, and I'm a big believer, as Paul was articulating, in paying things, being legal. I would say over the last 15 years, ever since I started writing about technology and software, almost every single person I know in the New York creative community who was getting Adobe products was stealing them.
Yeah.
I mean, it was astonishing to me, and I would always go, wait, that's theft. And they said, well, but it's $1,200.
Right.
I mean, so this is a very smart move
and
on their
everybody
part.
does it. That's the thing with piracy. It's like I'm saving $1,200 and everyone else is doing that.
They also went down the
stealing it.
wrong path, which was, I think they made it more expensive because so many people were pirating it, which then made more people pirate it. And this is what's so great as software as a service. When you're doing software as a service, everybody, you feel like such a douche if you steal it.
Yeah.
That it's like, if somebody told me there was a way to steal Evernote, I'd be like, well, I want to support the company.
Why would I steal it?
But if Evernote was $1,000 a year, and you felt like, well, Evernote's being a douche by charging $1,000.
The whole business was built on the fact that Condé Nast will buy like 10,000 licenses for InDesign,
Right.
and everyone else will steal it. And what they're basically trying to do is go, you know what? Let's
Everybody
turn
pay a
that
little-
around.
little
Not
more
least because
socialist.
those big companies might not be buying it anymore. So it's really smart.
there are no more big companies.
Right.
I mean, give me a break. Condé Nast's the only person who's killing trees anymore.
Yeah.
Or amongst
We're
the few.
actually increasingly killing trees. I'd like to point out.
Good for
I
I'd
love
like to point
killing
out you
trees.
did not buy
I
Adobe
hate
for your
trees.
designer.
No, not for Jeff because he already has it. No, but for Kristen and for.
Did you buy it?
Yeah, we did. We have
And
it-
some
we have-
people come
in
with
our,
it.
in our office.
It's like
yeah.
a chef. They'll come with their knives. They're like, I have a copy.
No, Kristen, and we even
That's
bought
what
one
his
for our
designer
we
did.
even bought one for our editorial assistant. No, I know Jeff who freelances for us and does the print design. He has his own copy, but no, for Kristen and for Chris and for all the people in the office.
All right, what was
we have it
story?
on every machine now.
One more story.
Okay, well, I think we should talk about Bill Gates making the comment about people really want a Surface and not an iPad. Can we play that
Show
video?
that video, yes.
Someone cry in this video.
Bill, I think we got to just ask you about all these tablets and PCs. Everybody's writing off the PC. Microsoft still does $80 billion a year doing. So I don't know what the hell it does, but obviously there's something going on in the PC world to still do that revenues like that. But what's the world
wait
gonna look like?
The market report.
How does the cloud factor into what Microsoft will do in the future?
This guy has no idea about anything. What a terrible journalist.
So the cloud is a gigantic opportunity because now there's so many things that you can do in computing that just wouldn't have been possible before. So you've got a lot of the top companies going to seize that opportunity. In terms of the devices themselves, Windows 8 really is revolutionary in that it takes the benefits of a tablet and benefits of a PC, and it's able to support both of those. So, if you have Surface Pro, you've got that portability of the tablet, but the richness in terms of the keyboard, Microsoft Office of a PC. So as you say, PCs are a big market. It's going to be harder and harder to distinguish products, whether they're tablets or PCs.
That's true.
With Windows 8, Microsoft is trying to gain share in what has been dominated by the iPad-type device. But a lot of those users are frustrated. They can't type, they can't create documents, they don't have Office there. So we're providing them something with the benefits they've seen that have made that a big category, but without giving up what they expect in a PC.
Bill, what do you make of what's happened
good
to...
enough. Oh, so David, what do you think?
Well, when you actually see him saying it, it doesn't sound so crazy. He's not actually saying nobody wants an iPad.
No.
And the reality is there are a lot of weaknesses of an iPad. That's why, I generally, even though I have an iPad, I use my MacBook Air, 90% of the time. But I do think it's interesting the degree to which Microsoft has failed to capture the imagination of its historic customer base with Windows 8. And I don't think they're likely to turn that around, frankly. I think that the reality is the world is moving on to something else. But it may not even matter because Microsoft has done such a good job with its enterprise software and a lot of other revenue streams, including Xbox and other things, that they are a much more diversified company than
Has
most
anybody
people
here
realize.
spent any meaningful time on Windows 8? I have.
The Surface thing, I spent some time dicking around
What did
with.
you think about it?
It just was not good. I mean, it was just that could be just because I'm so used to something else. And it took me a while to figure out the start
That's the
button
thing, when
on
you're the
Windows
follower.
95.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
the operating system
tell me
takes
how
a
this
little
works.
getting used to.
Yeah, so
I can't ever use Windows. I'm always.
But it's just, why would I? Why do I? And that's the thing is, like, they keep saying, well, it requires a time investment to figure out. I don't give a shit. Why do I
everything
need
does,
to make this time investment when I've got a perfectly good Mac?
Here's how I view this. I think that they don't understand what people are doing with tablets. I think they don't understand the magic of the iPad. I'm not going to sit down and write a story on my iPad.
No.
I have a MacBook Air for that. I'm perfectly happy having 2 devices for that.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that on my tablet.
One
what
is
I
for
want to do on
consumption,
my
one is for
tablet
production.
is entertain my kids, is watch movies on a long trip, is play games, is go through Flipboard, is shopping apps. It's a new thing, and Microsoft can't understand that it's a new thing.
Can a tablet ever be used? Because there are some startups trying to allow creation on a tablet. In fact, even Flipboard now is like make your own magazine on your tablet.
Right.
Do you think people will ever get the interfaces correct, Sarah, to be able to do content creation on a tablet?
I mean,
like,
maybe
are you ever going to write a story?
Not writing a story, I don't think. Maybe if it's like kitten videos.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's
Like
designing
editing a video.
something,
Yes, people are
maybe
making
something
editing
like that.
suites for it.
You could write a
Dragging and dropping images, but like...
You could make a speak and spell that you could write a novel on.
I
but it's
would
like,
write
why?
a story
it's just
on
kid
an
stuff.
iPad if I had Office on my iPad. I mean, I actually have the Logitech keyboard, which is a really excellent product for my iPad. It's just that I don't really like typing in pages and trying to edit it that way.
You know what? I have the little Apple keyboard. I've never once used it. I just don't
It
use it
sucks
with my
connecting it.
iPad.
The Bluetooth sucks.
I've got a laptop.
The Logitech keyboard for the iPad is way better than anything.
Here's a crazy prediction for you. This is the Blackberry Q10.
Huge box.
Well, look at this. Like they really
That's
understand what
actually
Steve
the
Jobs
size
did.
of the
You have
keyboard.
to see, like, it's really incredible. Feel
They're like, fuck it, full-sized keyboard. We're gonna do it.
This is incredible. They really looked at what like
It's amazing.
It's like the
what Steve Jobs did.
Flintstones
Chained to your
the
wrist.
thing comes with like all this great
It's
stuff.
unboxing.
It comes with 2 batteries and it comes with a battery charger, so you can be charging the battery while using. Anyway, the Q10. Unbelievable.
I
The
can't
operating
wait to get
system is
one.
back, and the operating system is fantastic,
I think
and the
it's gonna be
keyboard
a
is
success.
fantastic.
Have they stopped dicking around with? Is it touchscreen as well though? Because
It is
was so
touchscreen, but you don't
slow
ever have
and
to touch it.
painful on the
Yeah.
last.
Yeah, I had the last one, and it just crashed,
I had
crashed,
the last
crashed,
keyboard
crashed,
one.
crashed.
This doesn't crash.
Yeah.
It's so fast.
Yeah, I want
And
one.
typing is faster, and I'm like, oh my god, I've been suffering with this like Android swiping type keyboard and the
They just
iPhone.
have to stop being so inept. I mean, just get it out already. Like it's
It's out.
ridiculous.
It's 4G. The browser works, and the
This is
email
impressive.
works. It's
That
really
you're saying that is impressive.
honestly, like I trust me. I use Android. I'll say Android is like 80% of what iOS is in terms of refinement.
Yeah.
This is 90%
I
of
wrote
what
a piece
iOS is.
years
I
ago
believe.
where I said, I love
Plus
my BlackBerry,
physical
I want
keyboard.
more keyboard
Plus the physical keyboard.
devices. And then they went, no, we're just going to be a touchscreen device.
I
Idiots.
begged somebody to make an Android version of BlackBerry.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is going to be a huge seller.
Yeah.
If they can get the
Why
price
is
right.
no one else doing a keyboard? You said, why is no one doing the
I know.
Waze,
I don't
whatever
get
it's
it.
called, Waze
Nobody
thing. Why is no one
want-
doing a keyboard?
And do you guys have the same experience I have, which is when the iPhone got introduced and the BlackBerry operating system just collapsed on itself, that emails and productivity in the entire industry just went boom.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we used to sit on like in airports or in the bathroom or online.
Sent from my iPhone killed communication. Like
It absolutely destroyed stuff. I used to write pieces. I would
Yeah.
write an entire
Or it's just
email
single
to Karen,
words.
a
It's just
1,000
yes,
words.
No. Yeah.
Yes, or it's like, yes, I
Even
want
Eric
a
Schwartz
bacon.
is
spelled.
Love.
And you're like, the bacon
what's
love now
bacon
yogurt.
love?
And you go, what?
And you're like, bacon love? You
Sorry,
want bacon love?
autocorrect.
No, it's like, I wanted to meet you at Starbucks. I don't know why
My
it says I
favorite
want
is-
bacon love.
Can I be clear? When I sent you that, I did want bacon love.
Oh, you did want bacon
I
love?
actually did. I'm
Okay,
kind
good.
of annoyed
Can I get a
didn't
double
it.
order of bacon, please?
I'm annoyed I didn't
Right.
get my bacon love.
All right, so that's number one. BlackBerry Q10 is going to crush it. Now,
I don't think it's going to crush it, but I think it's probably a good
I'll tell
device.
you. I'll tell you why.
It will not.
I think they got
the
a marketing
company's not
There are
dead.
going to be
That's
enterprise.
Because crushing it isn't a real thing.
Okay, all right. Let me restate.
draw a line under
The
that.
stock is going to double in the next year,
Yeah.
and these things are going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. There are zillions of people right now who have fallen out of love with their iPhone 5. They see no reason to upload. How many people do you know who have the iPhone 4S?
I got the 4.
I have
This is
4S.
the
4, and they're like, I don't feel the need to upgrade to iPhone 5.
Yeah.
There's no, and
I
iPhone
don't.
5S is going to be like a flop like that as well. Where I mean, I know it's the best-selling device or next to the Samsung ones, but people they do miss that keyboard.
They need to get the
everybody
apps.
misses it, and once they see somebody sitting next to them getting work done, they're going to be like, I need to get work done, and all the people who are effing around with like, what is it, like Angry Birds or this and that, where's my water? You know what? When you're faced with this, you're like, I'll do that and I'll keep my iPad. So I think what business people are going to do is, this is in your
Maybe.
pocket, iPad's in your bag, laptop's in your bag. Now let's go to the next device.
What is that?
Google
thing?
Chrome Pixel. Has anybody used this? This thing is I know it's a one-function device. You can only open a Chrome browser. That's all you can do. The screen is absolutely gorgeous, which is the stupidest thing ever because all you can do is surf the web.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How much does it cost?
$1,200 to $1,500. It's ridiculous. However, It is the fastest device for surfing the web or doing email I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
And I am addicted to it because it's so fast for email. So what I do is, if I've got to do anything other than email, I go back to my MacBook Air. But now I'm planning a trip next week, and I'm bringing this with me. And that's how so I have a Windows 8 Acer, I've got this, and I've got my MacBook Air. I'm bringing this because I love the speed of it, and it's got Verizon LTE built in.
See, $500 I would buy that, not $1,200.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not what...
They went a little crazy,
I thought
but
they were cheaper anyway.
that was the thing. This is the stupidity of Google with regard to their Chromebooks. They started out with the garbage netbooks, which netbooks, that was going to take over the world, and how'd that work out? Nobody wants a $250 underpowered thing that takes 10 minutes to boot. This thing opens in 1 second, like it's 10 times faster than your MacBook Air, because it doesn't do anything else.
Right.
But it's $1,200.
That's just stupid.
So they got to get down to that $700 range, $800 range, and this is going to be a huge.
You know what I would love? If it was $500, what I would love, I would have my MacBook open for writing, and I would have the web not open on it at all, and I would have email open on that because I love being able to just turn off internet when I'm writing.
Yep.
And it's so slow on my Air.
That sounds good.
The internet.
I would love
what
that.
is about
It's
the
a
Air?
nice second screen, definitely.
Yeah, I
It's
would
incredible.
absolutely have that
I think
set up
that this
next to
is. I think Chrome, complete sleeper. If they get this Pixel cheaper, now what do you guys think about Amazon having a smartphone? Let's end on that.
Oh, I just love Amazon doing everything. I just love the Jeff Bezos.
An
Like he's like
inevitable
the
success.
old timey boxer who's like take on all comers. Like it's just
Who's next? Come on.
He's like
Put
one
him
of those
up.
guys like Elon. He's just like an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, and it's
What?
just the fact
Smartphone?
that
I can do it.
He will take on any industry. Like it does
No,
not
I think
matter.
from that point of view, it's great. From the point of view, would I buy an Amazon smartphone? No.
Well, why not? I mean,
I
the
like my
Kindle was good and look, software is the
You turned
important
on your
thing.
Kindle within about an hour.
Well,
You
I'm a
had-
dinosaur. I like reading physical books.
Right.
I'm not the average demographic. But look, the software was what was so brilliant about the Kindle.
Yeah.
WhisperNet. The fact that you could do impulse book purchasing for the first time.
I agree.
There
I
are
love the
brilliant
Kindle.
things about
I
the
adore the
software.
Kindle.
The price
They
is
could
incredible.
do some crazy
I don't know
things
why
And the price
with
to a phone.
smartphone.
And the price.
And look, e-commerce, mobile commerce is
It's fascinating.
massive.
Yeah, when I want to buy something,
I don't think I'll
go
have
to
one,
my.
but I think it's
if I have my
fascinating as a
laptop and
reporter.
my iPad, I find when I want to buy something, I go to my iPad.
But who?
Yeah.
I mean, how did the Kindle Fire do? I just don't think we need an.
Oh, it's sold
Amazon Fire.
incredible, but I don't think people use
That's
it.
what I mean.
My nanny does. We got her one. She
Yeah.
adores it.
$99, $109. Yeah. David, what do you think? Amazon and smartphones.
I agree with every bit of enthusiasm that has been expressed. I think they will do well with a smartphone. I think they have, not only do they have ability to design good products, and they have the most incredible channel for selling and distributing them that's ever been invented, as Sarah was pointing out. I mean, they will just win with that.
David, are you-
Others won't lose because it's a huge growing market.
Are you or
Thank
are
you
you
very
not
much.
an Amazon Prime subscriber,
Of course
David?
I am. Who isn't? I mean,
Who
it's anyone
isn't?
who's
Sarah,
not-
are you or are you not?
I love
Have you
it.
ever been Amazon? How about you,
We
Paul?
all are, yeah. Everyone.
Karen?
Of course we are.
Yep.
Everyone who reads a
You are?
I think you're an idiot.
5
if you're
years.
not.
Basically,
Long
if somebody
before
tells me
you.
they're
have
not,
to be
then
an
they're
Amazon
basically
Prime
illiterate and
subscriber. Come on,
stupid.
I mean,
Yes.
that's
Why
like-
would
This
you-
is the how illiterate do you have to be to not have Amazon Prime? Like, I just you
Brilliant.
have yeah, you're an idiot if you don't.
See, this is, I think, the Amazon.
It isn't good
Prime.
for the future of physical
They
retail,
don't
but
need
it is
fucking-
great.
Who cares
for-
about the
Fuck 'em.
future of physical retail?
I love it.
Did you say fuck 'em?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll
They
spend
didn't-
Somebody's gonna have
$10 to be
somebody's gonna have to
Amazon.
calculate this. All right, listen. This has been an amazing program. Let me thank baby Evie for being on
I
the
want to thank
program.
Baby Ever for sleeping the whole
Yeah,
time.
that was fantastic.
I just want to thank the
Quiet.
Resumator.
I would
you,
thank the
Evan.
It wouldn't be here if it weren't for the
Resumator. I want to thank
Resumator.
Sarah
Although
Kuda.
anyone watching this who doesn't know I have a baby in my shirts thinks I have the weirdest body ever
Incredibly
and some
deformed.
sort of like mental
Rocking.
imbalance where I have to keep rocking.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah, I just want to say that your breast
there isn't a
augmentation
fun-
surgery
Yeah.
that you're here for in LA, you might want to get a refund.
I only did it on one
They
side.
said LA was the place to go for that, but
And it's
made
just
you
like,
mad
did you go to
and
Mexico
deformed.
and
Yeah.
then? Is this a layover?
I knew
All right,
Amazon
listen.
shouldn't do breast augmentation. I knew they'd fuck it up. I'm
Who-
just
who's
saying.
this?
We don't need Amazon.
Amazon breast
We don't need
Amazon
it.
Prime.
I'll take him on. I can do it. Let me do it
Get
myself.
at it. Welcome.
Oh my God.
Calm
Today,
down.
Larry Page is announcing that he is doing, what's the filler called that they, Botox.
Oh.
Collagen Botox,
Botox,
yes.
yeah.
And Google is releasing collagen Botox, yes. And Amazon Prime. And listen, everybody go to David Kirkpatrick's amazing Internet of Everything, Internet of Things, Techonomy.
Next Thursday, SRI in Menlo
What did
Park.
that cost? $18,000 ago? What do you charge?
$75. It's not a
Oh.
huge, it's really open to
Affordable.
the public.
I love
It's
it.
a new kind of thing for us.
Basically free.
I love it.
That price.
I love it.
We didn't even know about it. We should send someone. 'Cause
Yeah,
this-
Please send lots of people. Come yourself.
This
it's
well,
going to
I'm
really
gonna
be an
in New
amazing
York,
lineup.
Unfortunately,
Can I give away 5 tickets to my audience?
Would love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Karen, take a memo. Can we tweet this?
Right
like
now.
5 free tickets and.
Can we give away 5 tickets?
He said take a memo in the last 20 years.
He also said selling
It's a joke.
like hotcakes.
Sounding like hotcakes. This is I. Welcome to your old-time news program. I am your host,
Memo.
Jumpin' Jason Calacanis. And today in the 5th race, I've got Daisy.
No, just quickly on this, we got great startups. We've
all I
got
wanna do is be a
Cisco,
radio host.
I
GE,
see that.
Ford,
That's all I wanna do in my
IBM, Qualcomm, Ericsson, amazing people, and it's going to be great.
Well, we're doing our focus this month is software colliding with the real world and taking over, which is definitely a part of that theme. So we'll definitely cover
Oh, it's
it.
all related.
Today on This Week in Startups, 1986 edition, Windows 3.1, David Kirkpatrick. Windows runtime. What do you think? Has Bill Gates done it again? Will this
I was
supersede
around back
DOS?
then, unfortunately.
I would watch this show if you did it like that. I mean, I would
Paul
be
Carr,
hooked on
Nolan
that.
Bushnell was on. He's got a new application for his Atari 2600
I
console
love it.
device. What do you think of Palm?
Will it be a hit?
What do you think of the dragon in Castle?
Man, I would watch the show. This week in
Sarah
1986.
Lacy, PC Junior, buy or not buy? 128 kilobytes of RAM. Too much for the average consumer. Yes or no, Sarah?
Wow, that was good.
He should do that voice all the time.
home, I know.
It's weirdly less annoying than his actual voice. He should do that voice.
a little less pesky.
He should do that. It's a little less Joe Pesci.
Listen. Forget about it. Over here. Listen, Sarah, let me tell you what you got to do with the Pando Daily. I think you're crushing it on the dinner we're going to do tonight.
More in Lethal Weapon than in, I have to say. It's more Leo
Listen,
Getz.
boy, is that what you guys? This is what you guys do. You call me Joe Pesci
we
behind my
think of
back
you as
for the
Leo
last
Getz.
5 years.
Leo Getz,
What
yes.
Jason wants,
he put
Jason
it to your
gets.
face.
I've been doing. I put a
He
YouTube video up of
photoshopped
it.
you in on TechCrunch once.
I once put the video of you doing the drunk dial to Mike against Leo Getz in Lethal Weapon. He's like,
Okay, listen. All right, listen. I'm gonna be. What am I gonna be on tonight? It's Dinner for Five. What is this thing we're doing tonight?
CEO Supper Club.
CEO Supper Club.
Yep.
Who's on tonight at CEO Supper Club? And
So-
when can people consume it? Where do they find it?
Oh, it takes us a little while to
Yeah.
put the clips together. It'll be on either next week or the week after
gonna
on
be
the
amazing.
site. It's gonna be amazing. It's called LA Loudmouths.
Perfect.
And we're gonna talk about LA ecosystem.
typecast once
we're
again.
also gonna talk about media. It's the first time Paul has joined me hosting
even though I'm not
CEO
from LA.
Supper
You're from
Club.
Vegas, which is sort of a suburb.
I'm totally not a loudmouth.
We consider it a
But it's
suburb.
media,
Oh, please.
you know. And you sort of roam. You don't really have a home. It's Paul, me, Jason, and Jason Hirschhorn,
Love it.
which
And
will be
Peter Pham.
amazing, and Peter Pham.
I was gonna say, don't forget
Wow.
Peter Pham. It's gonna be a killer.
No, Peter Pham's
So
gonna
you're
be.
gonna
Peter
continue the
Pham's not
show.
getting any word in.
I know.
Pham.
Poor Peter. Peter, I'm gonna be like Peter.
Peter Pham
Peter.
is silent.
Peter, can I get a little freshening up over here?
You know what
A little more iced tea, Peter.
You know what we have to do? We've got to give him shit about color. Because he
Absolutely.
never
We have
talks
to
on
ride
the
that.
record about color, and we need to
Oh
get
yeah,
him to
let's
talk
keep
about
bringing
color.
it up. No, what we have to
Just
do
keep
is
saying
we have to.
it.
No. Here's what we have to do. We have to bring it up. At some point, like bring up like a failure being part of success, and then I'll be like, well, I think Peter, like, I mean, the biggest failure we've had in the last 10 years is color. So, I mean, what did you learn from that?
Man.
Like you just
And
had to subtly,
MySpace, the other
like what?
DNA
And
inside.
oh no, we'll be like, well, no, but like everybody's got their own like MySpace. Like Peter, you have your color, you know, like, and then I'll be like, yeah, no, Mahalo was my color. I mean, it was like I tried and
all
I
have a
failed,
color.
and we all have a color in us, right? I mean, listen, we all have a color.
Which
and,
of us is without our color? We all have
Yeah,
our
we all-
color to
what
bear.
is the thing that he also did? That was the T-Mobile.
His other color that he did.
What was the other color he did?
What was
Which was
the
the
other color
T-Mobile
that he did?
startup. There was a startup that T-Mobile had done the ads around. It was something
The
about
Bill Shrink one?
The Bill Shrink. What happened to Bill Shrink?
I
That
don't
was,
know, but that was certainly not the level of flame out the color
Yeah,
one.
that was no
it certainly didn't have the drama, but I think it was like an acqui-hire kind of
At
like.
best, that was half a color.
I think that was like getting on first base when you get hit with the ball,
yeah.
Yeah.
as opposed to just getting thrown out of the game.
I don't understand.
Paul
the
Carr,
metaphors.
everybody check out Not Safe for Work, corp.com, and Not Safe for Work Live, which he does every night or 5 nights a week, which is hysterical. Really enjoyed
It
that.
is hysterical.
Get his books. In his first book, you can tell the story.
In my first book, I tell a story about Jason Calacanis, which the first time I met Jason, and he was a dick. So
You were
he
drunk.
threw his credit. I was a little drunk, but
So you were a dick
no,
too.
the second night I was drunk. The first night you were the one. You threw your Amex at me and said, "Go to the bar and get a round for everyone at the table."
Take a memo.
So I went to
See?
the bar, and I knew the bartender quite
Paul,
well. and I-
hey, Paul, get me some drinks.
And I said to him, "How much is all the open tabs in the bar, Andreas?" And he said, "Oh, it's like whatever $1,000."
$1,000.
I said, "Just put it all on that guy over there." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know. We'll do it."
You want to
It's
know the
fine.
best part of that story?
What was the best part of the story?
I didn't know you did that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Until I read it. I don't look at my credit cards. $1,000. My wife's like, yeah, $1,000 in a bar. Yeah, that's par for the course. Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the first you knew about it was when you read it in my book.
And then I told my wife, I was like, did I really get billed
You're
for
like,
that?
I'm really sticking it to him.
Really sticking to him. It's like, yeah, the house that didn't get you billed. Who cares? Woohoo! Pando Daily sold to America Online.
But if you would like to know what Jason Calacanis
I can't wait till you sell Pando
really
Daily for $50 million, and then Mike sits there and grinds his teeth that you doubled him up.
No. What I would do is if I were so inclined, I would want to sell it for an amount of money that had he not fucked me over, his equity stake would have been more than what he sold TechCrunch for.
Man, that's
genius.
That's a convoluted fuck you. That's like a fuck you in really fine script. Like that's taking
I calligraphy my fuck
decades
yous.
to like.
Did you have equity in TechCrunch?
Yeah, we had a little.
Tiny.
He did.
Did you buy a house with it or no?
No, but he was very fair
did a good thing on
considering
that.
when I came into the company and all that.
He
was
had
very
no
generous.
business giving me equity, and he insisted.
Quarter point?
I said to him, no, I didn't
Would you
want
get
anything.
quarter point?
I don't know what I got. I honestly genuinely don't.
Enough to buy an apartment?
No, nowhere near. Not even slightly. Sarah
Enough
got
for you to
way
buy an
more than I
apartment?
did, but even
Apartment
I-
or
Enough to
house?
redo a kitchen.
Oh, really?
I got enough to buy this watch. I'm not kidding.
Oh, really?
That's it.
All right, hey,
But
listen.
you know what? We did better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know.
Who were there longer.
Well, that was the thing. Like, Heather was like, when we broke up, Mike was like, you made more money in the sale. You made more money doing TechCrunch 50 for 3 years than Heather made. And I was like, really? Why are you
Also,
such a
you
dick
shouldn't
to
be
Heather?
proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
that's not
well,
surprising.
she's your number one. Give
Heather
her more.
deserved all of that money. Like Heather.
Yeah, she earned it.
Look, there was a reason Mike was the only one who wanted to sell. None of the rest of us
Yeah.
were going to.
Yeah, exactly.
We can all agree.
Follow at Sarah Kuda. Follow at Paul Carr. One
Correct.
word. David, what's your Twitter?
At David Kirkpatrick without the last K.
And in terms of books, you're only
Once you're lucky,
Once You're Lucky, Twice You're Good.
Brilliant,
And
also
Brilliant, Crazy
cocky.
Brilliant, Crazy Cocky.
Bringing nothing to the party and the upgrade.
The Upgrade, which has been optioned for a movie.
It has.
Congratulations on that, and it may
Thanks.
actually get made. I hear that. And David, your books, of course.
The Facebook Effect. Thank you.
Fantastic. And we'll see everybody next time on This Week. Thank you, Kieran, for reading the news, and apologies for telling you to take a memo.
That's
Apologies.
bad.
For you, that
accepted.
was a joke. I saw her.
He just got
She threw
caught
me
by that.
shade. You guys know what throwing shade is?
No one knows what throwing shade
I
is.
do.
What are we?
She knows.
I do.
What are you?
Show, throw some
am I
shade
the
at me.
oldest man in the world?
There you go,
Do
look at
I
that.
not understand what throwing shade is?
Watch. I'd be like, Sarah, no, I really enjoy Pando Daily.
That was throwing shade?
It's when you like put this is your shade up here. When you're
I mean, I kind of get it, but I didn't know we needed a new phrase for that.
like Obama
It's an
does
old
it,
phrase.
Beyonce does it.
It's an old phrase.
Like there's a great like looped video. This is where like Kieran, when we have a media editor on the show, they would be pulling this up. So somebody pull up Michelle
Take a
Obama
memo.
throwing shade. No, do it right now. Michelle Obama throwing shade. So she is like John Bonner or whoever that guy
Yeah.
is, like Speaker of the House or whatever. Like
I like to say John Boner.
boner.
Yeah,
We got a
but-
boner.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
John with the huge boner. So he like leans over and says
taken it further
something.
than I would
And
have done,
technically, I think what they said he wound up saying to Michelle Obama at this dinner was something about Obama's smoking habit.
Yeah, that's right.
And she
threw
goes like
shade.
this.
Didn't that used to be called rolling your eyes?
It was, but it's so much cooler to throw shade. It's so much cooler to throw
So
shade.
this is-
Everybody follow at Kieran Callia. And if you want to do the launch EDU event, June 27th to 28th, here it is.
26th and 27th.
26th and 27th. Watch this. Watch. And she's got like a mouthful of food. And he says something. Now watch this. This is a professional shade
Oh,
throw.
Yeah,
no,
that
no.
was brilliant.
Wait. It's coming.
No, she did it. Oh, yeah, that's it.
There it is.
Wow,
that
she
was it.
threw
Awesome.
She
shade.
is throwing mad shade.
Shade is all
Pull up
over the
Beyonce throwing shade. Where's the Beyonce throwing shade?
That's amazing. I gotta
How
work
do you-
on my
Didn't we
shade.
wrap
Oh,
up
no,
the
no.
show like 5 times?
It's not
already?
Beyonce. It's the woman from who's the crazy
The
woman?
show that never ends.
J-Lo? No, not J-Lo. Who's the crazy? Mariah Carey throwing shade.
Carey. Throwing shade.
Carey throwing.
So while you're doing
Shade.
that and we're all pimping events,
Yeah, pimp your shit.
Next year, we just had our Brian Lee Pando Monthly last night. In
How was
LA.
that?
It was amazing.
It was really good.
It was really good. Next week we've got
What's his
Chris
story?
Dixon in New York, and then we've got
His story
John
is
Doerr in
Shoe-Dazzle.
San Francisco.
Wait, who's the next one?
Chris Dixon in New York,
Great. I just had him.
Oh,
on
that
the show.
was-
and John Doerr in San Francisco.
We're just about to publish an interview with Chris Dixon in Techonomy, actually, because he's a real Internet of Everything guy.
Am I the only one who's not doing anything with Chris Dixon? I
You're
feel left
introducing
out.
us next week.
Oh, good.
And thank you to the Resumator and MailChimp. Thank you for Brandis on the ones and the twos and making everything flawless. Thank you for Kyle for writing the show notes. Thank you to Demont for selling the ads and being 6 months sold out. And thank you to My Turnstone for providing the desk. Thank you.
Seriously, we're doing this now. The tip jar. Thank you so much.
Thank you
to Home
so
Depot
much
for the
to
tip
Home
jar.
Depot for the tip jar.
Thank you for the people who made the MailChimp little chimp.
Thank you to the
Evie.
to the
Thanks,
people
Jeff, for the
who
sperm.
mined
Thanks, Evie.
this steel to make sure that this didn't. Hey, by the way, with your show, what kind of
Yeah.
microphones do you use? Use the Shores?
Yeah, we do actually.
The Shores are incredible.
Yeah, they really are.
Thank you, Shure, for sponsoring the program.
Oh, they sponsor you?
No, I bought this.
I was
Come
gonna
on.
say, what? That's
All right, we'll
ridiculous.
see you next time on This Week in Startups. Bye-bye.